Okay, it's another podcast on uh, ConvoCourses, and today I'm going to talk about why you should do IT, and then we're going to go into a couple of jobs, a few more job offers, and opportunities that have come to me, and then it's going to be open topics just like normal. So first off, how's everybody doing out there? Can't ignore the elephant in the room, which is COVID-19 and coronavirus. It's definitely affecting the job market, most job markets. IT industry is still hiring people. It's still a lot of work to be done. It's slowed down some because overall the markets have slowed, so it has slowed, but they're still hiring people. I'm still getting contacts. We still have a lot of work to do. So it just got me thinking about doing this. Why you should think about seriously, if you are not already in IT, why you should seriously consider it. I read an article about how, and I guess it's been popping up in the news, how McDonald's, a multi-billion international company, has been not allowing their workers to have 14 days off even if they may be infected. And it's not just McDonald's, it's Domino's, it's name your favorite fast food restaurant, and that's what's happening to them. So they're not allowing people to they're not they're not in some cases not allowing people to wear masks at work serving people's food. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And it got me thinking how lucky I am to be in this industry where I've been doing great for years. And it's because I'm in IT. And I don't take that for granted, not for 1 second. It's the reason why IT people make more than the average person. They can work from home in many cases. There's just many reasons why I'm very lucky. And if you're not in IT, I'm going to give you some reasons to be in IT. And that's the first thing I'm going to talk about. And so I've got a few people watching here, but what I'm going to do is dive into why you should do IT. And if you didn't know, I've got some courses that walk you through how to get into IT if you're not already, how to get into a specialized field in IT that pays even more money, pays really good, takes care of you, all that kind of stuff. And then also I talk about exactly what to do when you get into that field. So if you're interested in that, go to ConvoCourses.com and go ahead and check that out. I've got some huge discounts. If you watch to the end, I'm going to let you guys know about those. This is especially for people who are wanting to get into IT and starting from scratch. And I appreciate everybody who's watching right now, but I'm going to dive into this specifically for people who are not in IT but want to get into it. Let's talk about this. Number one reason you should get into IT is that it is a $5.2 trillion industry and growing. It's not going anywhere. It's growing fast. This is just the direction that humanity is going in, that our species is going in, of using tools to have a more comfortable life, to have more functionality in life, to do all the things that we want to do. IT is not going anywhere, and it's a growing international industry. I want to say it's the fastest growing industry. Where here I am on CompTIA.org, and it's showing us how large the industry is all over the world, in every continent, probably in most, if not all, countries. And it's showing the growth, global IT industry growth projected to hit 3.7%. So it has not stopped, and I'm here to tell you, it hasn't stopped since I've been in it. I'm super blessed to be doing this right now, and I'm extremely lucky. I don't have to worry about companies telling me I can't wear a mask going into work. I can actually work from home. But yeah, it's a growing industry, and it's probably the biggest reason you should seriously consider some form of IT field. And then there's many different aspects. It's not just when you say IT, it's not just help desk. It's not just software engineering. There's so many other things you can do. You'd be surprised that are called IT, like program management. There's some aspects of program management that are actually IT. There's so many different aspects and so many different branches of it. So it's a very broad topic, broad industry, and it's growing fast. Another reason that you should seriously consider going into IT is that it can be done remotely. Many of the jobs we do can be done remotely. So in situations like this where we're at a stay-at-home order all over the world, I'm doing fine. I'm doing just like I've always been doing because I'm able to work from home 24. And as a matter of fact, before this, I was working from home. So actually, my lifestyle has not changed very much. And many other people who I know who also are IT people who work from home in many different avenues, not just system security, but cyber analysts. You're talking about network engineers. Many of those guys are now working from home, and sometimes it's flex time where you have an office and you can go and appear in that office and work there, or you can work from home. Depends on your employer. But IT is an industry that allows you to do that. So that's another huge benefit of it that we have over industries like the restaurant, hotel industry, and over retail and all those industries. They pretty much have to be at their job. But us, we can have a remote and we have flex time and things like that. So that is another huge benefit of being in IT. Another benefit of being in IT is that it pays better. It pays better than average. The average salary in IT, let me see if I can find one. And don't take it from me. Let's just look at some data. They make more, in their job than, say, a resource development person. So or maybe I'm lying. Here, let's see. Here's a human resource person is going to make 23,000 USD or 1 million pesos. But in IT, the average IT person is making 32,000 a year, which is really good in the Philippines if you know anything about their economy. But they also make 1.5 million pesos per year. So, and that's just an IT manager right there. So all over the world, let's look at another country. Let's look at other places to get an idea of what we're talking about here as far as how much these guys make. Now look at this. This is coming from, I want to say this is the US right here, but this one is showing us a scale of how much people, this looks like the US because these are pretty high numbers. But software engineers, they're saying that they're making upwards of 89,000. Web developer 77,000. Really depends on your experience, who you're working for. There's a lot of different caveats. Do you have a degree? Do you have a certification? Do you have a business for yourself? There's a lot of different things that go into a web developer. But database administrator, I would say 75,000 for a database administrator is kind of low. All the guys I know were making more than that. Computer programmer, so you get the idea. They make more than the average salary in the U.S. is about what, 50,000, 55,000. These guys are $30,000 above that. So the average money that you're making as an IT person is more. So I just gave you 3 big reasons to get into IT. One, it's growing. It's the future. It's the direction that humanity is going. Is more and more IT. Another one is work from home. Like, it gives you the option of work. Many jobs, not all, but many give you the option of working from home or having flex time where sometimes you go into work to your office and sometimes you work from home. And then the other thing is the salary is much larger. And I would add a couple other things here too. Usually IT companies, I notice they take care of their people a little bit more. Like, I complain a lot, but it's kind of like first world problems. Like, I'll complain about my problems, but then I'll hear about the problems of a sanitation engineer, what they have to put up with, or somebody who works in sales, or somebody who works. My problems are nothing compared to theirs because I do IT. So there's just a lot. There's many different incentives and reasons to get into IT. Another thing I didn't mention about IT is that we have many different ways to make money, because you can not only be a contractor, but you can be a full-time employee or a part-time employee, an intern. You can even do your own business and do consulting all on your own. So there's just so many different avenues that we can make money as IT professionals. It's a really good career field, and you should really check it out. If you're interested in it and you happen to be in a job where you're like, man, I really need to level up. This is not working for me. I need something else. Contact me. Let me put my contact information here. I'm going to put a code at the bottom. This is to help people out. If you're really in, listen, don't waste your time. Don't waste my time. If you're really interested in getting into IT, I can actually help you out. All right. So what I'm going to do for a limited time is I'm going to offer people a huge discount on an entry level course that I have. And I'll also personally help you out with it. So if you're interested, you can contact me right here and I'll help you out. There's a little code in the bottom for one of my courses that you can. This is only for entry level people. This is for people who are trying to level up. I'm really interested in helping you out because these are really super hard times. So I'm going to give you a gigantic discount on the courses. So that's that. Let's move on to the next topic. And I see you guys talking to me here. I'm seeing some topics. I will come back to those at the end. I've got a couple of jobs I want to tell you guys about. I promised that I would get to these jobs. So let me do that real quick. I will make this quick. I think I already talked about some of these, so I won't spend a lot of time on it. But here's one of the jobs right here. This is in Colorado Springs, but you're probably, if you're not in Colorado Springs, if you're not happen to be not in Colorado at all, you should still contact these people. This is Insight Global, and I'll have the contact information at the end here. They've got tons of jobs there and job openings all over the country. So I would contact them. Just give them your resume. Say, hey, I'm interested. I have some of the qualifications that are listed. And contact them and say, if you have any other jobs out there for me, I'm in Virginia. Please send me what you guys have or let me know in the future if you guys have positions. Because the thing is with Insight Global and some of these other technical companies, things open up over time. And they might not have anything now. All their stuff might be for a contract that they have in Colorado Springs or Colorado, Denver, whatever. But something will open up in your area. So what you want to do is stay in contact with them. And before we dive into these jobs that you see on the screen over here, I should let you know that I also have a course that walks you through how to market yourself. How to market yourself so that you can get these kinds of jobs and get these kinds of opportunities throughout your career. So if you happen to be an IT person. Okay, let's get into this. So, number one, we've got a vulnerability management lead. Now, keep in mind, I got all of these opportunities while we're on lockdown, while all this stuff's going down, while there's an economic downturn. This is how effective IT is. It hasn't stopped. During the recession of 2008 all the way till now, it has not stopped. So there's so many opportunities all over. Anyway, getting back into this. Vulnerability management lead in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And your day-to-day work is the employment of Colorado Springs is an employer in Colorado Springs is seeking a vulnerability management lead to join their global security operations team. The person will be responsible for ensuring effective vulnerability scanning of infrastructure and applications with both corporate and cloud environments, within both corporate and cloud environments. So this sounds like Nessus scanner or Qualys or some kind of scanner that you're going to be using for this client, and you're going to be the person managing all of the patching and the updates that's going on constantly in a Windows or a Linux or a Mac environment. I don't know what it is. I don't know what their client is or anything like that, but we'll have the contact information at the bottom. So, network engineer, this one's in Inglewood, Colorado. The day-to-day work is a client is seeking a network engineer in the Denver, Colorado area. That's where Inglewood is. It's located near Denver. And you're going to, I'll just read a couple of them. You're going to conduct certification testing of new voice over IP related products. You are going to conduct lab certification testing and new software packages and hardware platform for existing voice over IP. So this looks like a lot of voice over IP stuff. I'm sure I've read this one before, actually. So I'll just make it quick. Yep, full stack. I remember reading that one. So if you're interested in this position, I told them that I would kind of send this out again. Here's the person you contact at Global Insight. I'm just going to go ahead and read this number out just in case you happen to be listening to this. The office number is 303-459-7144. And so this is in Colorado, Denver, Inglewood, downtown Denver, and Colorado Springs area. If you're interested in that, you can contact these people. All right, so that one's gone. Let's go to the next job here. Another job. I only have like 3 of them, but these were very recently sent to me. So just figure I would throw them out there just in case somebody is looking for something. Here's one in Texas. This one came to me yesterday, and it is immediate hiring security engineer in Allen, Texas, wherever that is. And anybody here from Allen, Texas, or close to know where that is in Allen? So this is an IT recruiter named eTalent Network. Now these guys, you should definitely, if you're looking for a position, if you happen to be an IT person, you should definitely give these guys a call, contact them, even if you happen to be in Washington State, and you don't have a job, you're not interested in moving to Texas, Allen, Texas, or anything like that. You should contact these guys because these guys have so many jobs. These guys contact me every single week, sometimes every day, sometimes more than once a day. So give them, what you do is you contact them, you give them your resume, you say, hey, I'm looking for a job, I live in X. Do you guys have any, here's what I know how to do. They will start sending you things. So there you go with that. Somebody said Allen is a bit north of Dallas, just north of Plano. Oh, I've been to Plano, Texas before. I've been around that area. Okay, so that says a lot. Plano is like a tech hub. In man, that place is so rich too. Anyway, if you guys are interested in knowing more about this, I got to do a little bit of selling here. So excuse the marketing, but if you guys, anybody interested in doing deep diving into knowing how I'm able to get all of this information constantly, I have a course that walks you through how to. I've been able to market myself for the years, and I've not been without a job. It takes me a few weeks to get a job. A job I want takes me about a month. So just to let you know, I have a course out there, but let's get some free information out there. Let's talk about this job right here. This is a job in Allen, Texas, which is just north of Plano, Texas, and is for a security engineering position. And you need to be a U.S. citizen or a green card holder to get this position. That's great information. All right, so it says, as a security engineer, I'll just highlight it as I read here. As a security engineer, you will work with global team of engineers who are responsible for maintaining and evolving network security service. Network security as a service, and evolving network security as a service. So basically, it's a company, if I'm understanding this correctly, it's a company that does networking for other companies. That's what that network security as a service means. You're responsible for projects. You're responsible for projects, development, automation, and operations of related to WebEx firewall and security infrastructure. So we know that they're using that. You're going to create or improve the tools that provide insight into availability and performance of our services. You're going to share in the creation of new designs, architectures, and multi-regional, multi-data center distribution systems. So, okay, that's telling me this is B2B. Basically, you're a network engineer who focuses on security, and this organization you're going to work for has clients, has other businesses, and they do security services such as WebEx, firewall for other companies. That's what it sounds like to me. And they probably do it all over the country, all because it says multi-regional. So it's probably more than likely all over Texas or all over the U.S. All right, let's kind of read through like what do they really want here. And I'll have all this stuff below, so you can always. And I'm definitely gonna read the contact if you're interested in this position. Minimum requirements. They're looking for a bachelor's degree in computer science or equivalent. That means it doesn't have to be computer science, which focuses on software engineering, stuff like that. It could be a bachelor's degree in information technology. It could be a bachelor's degree in, I don't know, name some database administration. It could be, as long as it's technical, then that's what they're saying there. A 4 year, but they're looking for a 4 year degree plus 4 years progressive experience in networking, network engineering, firewall, and telecommunication support. That's the important part. Sometimes if you have a bunch of years of experience, they'll kind of, the bachelor's degree is kind of just a check mark. So just keep that in mind. The experience really outweighs a bachelor's degree or any kind of certifications you have, especially if it's not focused on just federal government. Federal government tends to be very, very strict with it. They really want that bachelor's degree from time to time. All right, so let's kind of look through what else they want here. They're kind of hitting different points. Experience with access control lists. That's usually in internet working devices. Provide hands-on support for a variety of security-related technologies, including but not limited to firewall, network intrusion prevention systems, NIPS, denial of service attacks, and SSL solutions. And expertise in Cisco hardware, ASA, Firepower, I've never heard of that one, and Nexus. All right, then they're expecting you to have routing experience, switching experience. Kind of just skimming through this. Yeah, so routing experience, open shortest path first, routing protocols. So pretty well-rounded network person is what they're looking for, a really solid networking person. If you're interested in this position, here's the number. It's area code 703-261-7028 and extension 367. And that's with eTalent Network at etalentnetwork.com. Contact them, even if you're not in Plano, Texas, if you're not in Allen, Texas, contact them and give them your resume if you happen to be looking for positions, because these guys send me stuff from all over the country. Now, with all that out of the way, let's just go ahead and open this up. I had another job, but I don't know how much people are interested in hearing these jobs. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive into... Wait, I might have had a remote job. Let me see. I thought I had a remote job. Maybe not. I could have swore I had one. Somebody sent me one. I don't know. It's buried in my email somewhere. If you're interested in it, email me. So let's just open up topics. I got some people here talking to me. Let me just read some topics and then we'll call it quits from there. How are you guys doing? Hope everybody's staying safe. Just cooped up in the house. Haven't been able to do my normal outside. Not that I go outside that much anyway, to be honest with you. Okay, I've got Navi 2000. How you doing, Navi? We got MD. We've got Vincent. We've got a few other people watching. If you guys have any questions about risk management framework, about cybersecurity stuff, about the industry, about information you want to share with other people, anything at all, this is the time to do it. It's completely open topics for a while before we close this thing down. Navi 2000 says, hang in there. Now's a good time to study and prepare for certs. Amen. Exactly. This guy knows what's up. Navi knows what's up. That's exactly what I'm doing. MD says hello. Vincent says, hello, Bruce. I'm keen. I'm a follower to your online IT lessons. Awesome. That's great, man. If you ever have any questions, just let me know. Let's see. Navi says, how many people that have been forced to work from home will not return to a cubicle after the pandemic? it will save companies money as well. I was thinking the same thing. Number one, a lot of people who've never worked from home, if they happen to be working from home, now they're going to get a taste of it. And I know that there's a lot of people who don't like working from home. Like it's not their thing. Maybe they have small kids or they just rather be in an office. Surprisingly enough, there's some people who don't want to work from their house. It's always shocking to me. I'm able to get more stuff done. I'm more efficient from home. I don't want the commute wastes. I feel like it's a complete waste of time. I'm not paid for my commute. I gotta pay for gas. I mean, I just don't understand why a person would want to work in an office, especially if it's not walking distance from their house. But that's just me. But yeah, Navi, I was thinking the same thing. Like, how many people after this is all said and done, and organizations as well, are gonna be like, you know what? We can cut down our office space. We don't have to pay for this larger office. We don't have to rent this out anymore. It's going to cut our office rental prices in half, and our resources that people sitting and plugging in computers and stuff. Like, instead of us paying for those utilities, we can have our people work from home. They have a phone. It worked. We didn't lose any money by having them work from home. Like, I bet you there's going to be way more people working from home. They're going to at least have a plan for people working from home, and have like flex plans where people can work from home sometimes and work from the office sometimes. I bet you more organizations are going to do that, and more people are going to start looking for remote work once they get a taste for it. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that one, Navi. All right, MD says, would you say cloud is going to be taking over on-prem? If yes, what areas of cloud technologies and cybersecurity analysts should I focus? Um, I would say it already is. I would say it already is. MD. The reason why I say that is because the last three organizations I worked for, federal or not, are going cloud. It's actually been going this direction for quite some time, like in the last decade, like it's just been blowing up, like slowly but surely. You got companies like VMware, and of course Amazon, and now Google's getting into the cloud. Like, it's just cheaper to keep your equipment elsewhere. It's just cheaper to do it, to have your data stored elsewhere and pay for that, rather than have it all stored right, have all your data right there, and have to have a security operations center that's associated with a rack of servers and stuff. It's just getting cheaper to have, especially like the more data that we're dealing with. Like, how many people can have, petabytes of data in store it there physically? Like, how many organizations can pay for that, rather than just have someone else, a third party organization who's designed to do it, a place like Google or like Amazon, they're designed to do that kind of stuff. So it's just, this makes more sense. Yeah, the government's doing it. In fact, the government has something called FedRAMP, and that's all cloud computing for federal government data. So then there's a whole different standard for actually doing a security compliance for cloud computing. So I agree with you there. Yeah, it's how. What would I say to of it taking over? Yeah, it's been going in that direction. That's the direction we're going. I mean, period. So what would I recommend? It really depends on. There's really a battle, and I don't know who's winning that war. Amazon's definitely in the runnings. I would definitely know some Amazon, some AWS. I don't know where Google's going. I don't really see them in my line of work. Well, no, I take that back. So, yeah, Google. I would say the things to learn right now. It seems like Amazon and Google are kind of really trying to take over in that space. What do you guys think? Is there any other cloud computing services that you would say that are worth your time to actually learn? I would say cloud. A certification to get would probably, I know people don't really talk about it a lot, but ISC squared has a cloud computing. Let me see if I can find it. They have a cloud computing. They have a cloud computing certification that I think is good because it's not focused on, it's not, it's vendor independent. So ISC squared certification. Let me show you what I'm talking about so I can be a little bit more accurate. Here I am on ISC squared, and they have a cloud computing certification that I think is the way that is excuse me, this one right here is vanilla. So it's just talking about security best practices. So this one I think is, I don't know how marketable it is just yet. I know the one that's, I could tell you like the ones that are really popping off, like as far as money wise, top cloud certifications. I know it's AWS and Google are some of the top ones. Yeah, see, check this out. So if these are any indication of what's going on with the market, these ones are listed quite often, but there's one I haven't been mentioning, Microsoft certification, but there's the cloud certification I was talking about from IC Squared. I didn't even know. Yeah, I forgot CompTIA had one, but those are all cloud certifications. I know these are big certs. They pay very well. Anytime I go to like top paid certs, those ones pop up as like 1 and 2. But yeah, here you go right here. Like, check this out. Look at this. Just so you can get a look at that. That should give you some idea of what to choose as far as cloud computing. AWS, no joke. They're getting a large portion. It's just the way Amazon is so cutthroat and brutal. Like, they're really doing anything they can to take this market, and it's been working. So yeah, doesn't surprise me that they're one of the top folks out there. Microsoft, Azure, they're trying to get a piece of the pie. And then you got Google certified. I don't know how much I've seen of their market share, like whenever I've been out there. I haven't seen any kind of federal or state people using it. AWS, I've seen them using that. But Google, I have not seen it. I personally haven't seen it, but I'm sure maybe it's out there. AWS developer, Google certified, professional. Then let me see if I can find anything else that kind of jumps out at me. Yeah, this would be the one. I'd go AWS, probably be top of my list. That or this one, just because this one's like a vanilla one. But again, I don't know how marketable it is. It's not like a CISSP, you know what I mean? Like where it's just like money as soon as you pass the test. I don't know that this one is like that. But one way you could find out is by going to Indeed.com. You could go to Indeed.com, and if you just typed in CCSP, let's just see if it even comes up at all. CCSP, wasn't that what it's called? CCSP Cloud. Yeah, CCSP. See that? See how it doesn't come up? See how there's like no jobs? But then let's see. Let's look for USA. See if we just find any job in the USA for it. Not many people looking for the certification. But watch this. Watch this. This is how I check marketability right here. Put you on some game. Watch this. So let's go to the top one. They mentioned this one first. So I imagine that means something. But this is an architect. So that's a pretty big certification. So that's probably a high level cert right there. Let's look for an architect. Look at this. Immediately, look how many jobs came up. 9,000, over 9,000. The other one had like, how much was it? 100? 900 jobs. And none of them are mentioning that cert by name, which is concerning. But AWS, now granted, this is a high level certification. This might be like one of the top tier certifications, but it's coming up. Look at Certified Cloud Security Professional Instructor. How about this? Let's do this. Let's look at cloud. This is another way you can research it. Cloud engineer, cloud security, cloud computing. Now let's get cloud security. Cloud security. Yeah, look at that. So That's pretty good pay. And now what we do is look at what kind of certifications are they looking for a cybersecurity engineer for cloud. Oh, this is cybersecurity though. So let's get more specific. Let's look at cloud computing. Just straight up cloud computing. Cloud computing. So it's all looking for my area, Colorado. So I don't want just Colorado. Let's look in USA. Damn, 200,000 a year. That's got to be wrong. Something wrong with this. Is this thing broke? Look at this. Cloud architect up to 200,000. That's freaking retarded, man. AWS architect, remote work available. Look at this. Virtualization engineer, another way of saying cloud engineer, remote available, remote work available. Look at this. Yeah, cloud computing is definitely something to look into. That is for sure. Something to look into for sure. But I hope that answers your question. Navi says, I'm interested in cloud security as well. It should be strong. It should be a strong area to work remotely. This guy called it, man. Navi knows what's up, man. We're just reading this. What he's saying. And he says, are AWS and ISC cloud certs the way to go? It looks like, from what I'm looking at, AWS seems like a pretty solid one. But I'm just thinking to myself, what I would want to do is I would want to be in a position where I could do either one. I could do cloud. I would want to be knowledgeable so that I could come in and do an AWS, or I could do a Google Cloud, or I'd know the fundamentals well enough to where I can do any kind of cloud service. That's where my mind is. But that said, it looks like AWS is the clear leader here. If this is the salary that they're talking, and this isn't just for architect. I saw it down here for like a regular developer, certified developer. I don't know which one is like higher as far as hierarchy or whatever, but this one is also may also be paying pretty good. I saw another one in here that was listing the price as being over six figures. So I mean, yeah, it sounds like it's AWS and or ISC too. But that's just me talking. You know, I'm just telling you based on what I've seen and what I'm seeing here. I could be totally wrong. I'm not a cloud person, so I don't know. MD says, just posting this question in the queue for your answer at the end of the live session. How much a cybersecurity analyst make with a 3-year experience in New York and Philadelphia? Watch this. Check this out. I can tell you exactly how much by doing this. You can follow along with me. Cybersecurity engineer. Watch this. Now, it's looking in LA, in USA, right? But you said Philadelphia and New York City, NYC. New York City. Let's just look at the whole state, New York State. This will give you a good breakdown, a good idea, general ballpark idea of how much these guys make. Let me just make this a little bit smaller and look at this one's in New York State somewhere. Bay Systems. And let's see if they have a salary on here. Yeah, this is definitely cybersecurity. Bachelor's or master's degree. Looking for a CISSP or equivalent. But you said 3 years of experience. So yeah, what you would do, you go to Indeed. This is just one, okay? Indeed is one really good one. Another one is Glassdoor. Glassdoor.com is another good one. So yeah, you go here and you look at each one of these, and then I think you can say something like, Well, 3 years is not necessarily entry level. So let's say it's mid level, right? And then you could say, well, how much do you want to make? You could actually select this if you want to, but look at where it starts, 81. But 81 is not a lot in New York, right? New York City. It's pretty expensive there. It's not a little, but it's not a lot. So I'm just kind of scrolling through to kind of get an idea. Senior, no. Let's look for like a normal IT cybersecurity person. Cybersecurity. Okay, let's kind of open it up here. Just say cybersecurity to get some idea of what we're talking about. Yep, they're base systems again. And if anybody knows this off the top of their head, add it in the live here. Cybersecurity supervisor. I'm not seeing how much people make unless we drop this down. Let's just start from 80. Let's start from 80,000 here. And see if it'll sort by that. Doesn't seem to be sorting by, oh, okay, I guess it is. Cybersecurity engineer, Redstream Technologies is in the 80. Yeah, okay, there we go. $80,000 range. So this should give you some idea right here of what we're talking about as far as how much money these guys make. Cybersecurity analyst, 80,000 to 90,000. Risk and compliance manager, that's IT, that's security compliance type stuff, risk analysis, stuff like that. Look at this, 120 a year. This is in New York City. Cybersecurity supervisor. I hope this gives you some idea of how much these guys make. Let's check out Philadelphia. Yeah, but this is how you do it right here. See the search algorithm, how it works? You could just go right down the list, by the way. We searched by just 80, but you could look at 100, 105. 6 figures right there. So this is the search criteria right here. I'm on Indeed.com. That's how you find it out. Now let's go to, what was the other place you said? Philadelphia? Philadelphia, home of the greatest musicians of all times. The Roots. All right. Let's look at cybersecurity engineer in King of Prussia, PA. So approximately the same amount. Let's look at this drop down here. Nope, that's salary. Let's look at salary. Yeah, it seems like the same ballpark. From 80,000 to 120 is what we're looking at for both areas. Pretty good money there. Pretty good money for cybersecurity. There's a lot of jobs in that area too. Don't let anybody tell you different. You know, we have a lot of first world problem complaints, but there's actually a lot of IT, a lot of business, a lot of jobs. It may not be what people want, but they're there. They're there. And I know that this economic slowdown is definitely going to have an impact on the industry, but I'm telling you, I am somebody who works in this industry, and how can I put it? There's the same amount of work. I'm doing the same amount of work. It hasn't slowed down. However, the slowdown is other markets that we would normally service have slowed down. That's what's happened. Like I'm in a B2B, like our business, we supply a service, a security as a service to other people, right? So those like it's retail or it's TJ Maxx. It's not literally TJ Maxx. I'm just using that as an example. It's other organizations that we provide a service to, but they are hit economically. We know it's going to pick back up at some point, right? I mean, some businesses ain't going to make it, but some, it's all the market's gonna come back up once this all calms down. Who knows when that's gonna happen? Maybe not in the next month, maybe not in the next 2 months or whatever. But eventually, it's gonna come back up. It's gonna pick back up. But IT, there's still a lot of work going on, is what I'm trying to say. All right, so I hope that answers that question. That was a good question. I like that one. Hope that The other site to check, by the way, is called Glassdoor.com. That one breaks down salaries way better than Indeed, by the way. Let's see. Navi says Texas Instruments and Raytheon were big in Dallas back in the day. Lucient, Nortel, and others had big telecom corridor there in the 90s. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Did not know that. Lucient, yeah, I remember hearing about them being in Texas, and of course Texas Instruments. I didn't know Raytheon was there. Navi says there are a lot of social aspects to office work, but it usually has little to do with getting work done. The old work mindset is more office oriented. Exactly. Yeah, they think that you're going to make more money because they think the organizations think, oh, we make more money because it's more productive with people sitting in this office. Not necessarily true. Nabi, thanks for that $10, man. Appreciate that. Says when he says thanks for sharing the knowledge. When you work contracts with the government, do you have to be registered to bid on jobs? I would love to work small contracts solo or with a very small groups. All I can tell you, Navi, is what I know, and it's not a lot. So at one point, I thought about doing it myself, and so just so you know, I've never done it before. I've never done contracts for the government. I've worked for employers who did, and very small employers who did, who don't know how much I could. Years ago, I worked for one of the most brilliant women I've ever met in my life. By the way, she black woman. I'm not even messing with you. She's the most brilliant. One of the most brilliant human beings I've met in my entire life, and she hired me. She saw one of my websites and hired me, and I had the pleasure of being in the presence of this magnificent brain. She was brilliant, and I love meeting people like that. It's so inspiring, and I love learning stuff from them, like the way they behave, the way their life is. Right, she's on a whole different level, right? And she's like telling me how her kids speak French and speak 3 other languages. I'm like, damn, like what? I'm not worthy. But yeah, she was brilliant. But she started her own company, and she had a contract that serviced, I don't know, probably 20 different federal departments. I'm not sure, but she had me like teaching here and there, and around that time frame, I had a non-disclosure agreement, so I couldn't compete with her, obviously, which I wouldn't have done anyway. But now, and this was years ago, so I could totally do it now. But so she had me teaching I was teaching like DIACAP, risk management. So, and if you ever happen to watch this, yeah, shout out to her, man. She was brilliant. She was amazing. She was an amazing human being. But I started doing research on my own. Like, how's she doing this? And what I found was, let me see if I can find the site. It was a site with a bunch of contracts on it. And you probably already know what site I'm going to. And it was Firstgovgov, something like that. It had a bunch of contracts. It breaks them all down, and let me see if I can find it. Breaks them down. It talks about their requirements, and you're supposed to like write a request for proposal document. I don't know. You could probably look at YouTube and see how to write it and stuff. That's about as far as I got. I did research on how you do it and stuff, and then I've helped write requests for proposals before for big companies, so I only write my part, but I don't know how all that stuff goes. But I'm looking for the site. I think if you find this, when you see this site, it explains a lot, and you start to know like how these organizations are able to find these jobs. Let me just see if I can. Man, what is it called? If you guys know what I'm talking about, it was like First.gov or something like that. They renamed it. Oh, they renamed it. Look at that. Let me see. Firstgov. That maybe they're saying it's named USA.gov now. Maybe I don't know if this is it. Yeah, this might be it. USA.gov. This might be it. So it used to be called like Firstgov.gov or something like that. And this has a bunch of grants and a bunch of contracts. It has all kinds of stuff. This is an awesome site, by the way. It has nonprofit. It has stuff for vets. It has stuff for minorities. It has stuff for grants and all kinds of stuff here. So this is a really good site that I'm surprised more people don't talk about. Great opportunities for U.S. citizens, and maybe even some for just residents. There's all kinds of stuff here. Definitely, if you're thinking about starting your own, doing a bid for a contract or something like that, or starting your own staffing company, which a lot of who I admire the most, man, is immigrants, because they come here and do it, man. Immigrants will come here, they'll find some shit like this, and then they'll make a business, and then they'll have a business, of mid-tier business with 500 people under them. Immigrants are bad MFs. They don't come here to play games. They don't come here like we black people, man. Black African Americans, we could really learn a lot from immigrants, man. They are not here to play games. So, and that's coming from, I just looking at them, and I admire their work ethic and their drive to do it. That's what we as a people, African Americans, that's what we need to do. That's the truth. We need to do that, especially for our community and for each other. Eric says, what is the best certification to do when transitioning to cybersecurity? Security Plus is a great entry level. Security certification. Now, if you don't know anything about IT at all, then I would start smaller. I would start on the A+ certification. And if you want more information, check this out. Go to CompTIA. It's a great site. I used to teach CompTIA. I really like their material. It's really good starter material. I like how they break information down. They really start with the basics and they walk you through it. It's like a for dummies course, and I'm not trying to be like rude or anything or insult people's intelligence. It's just the way they break it down it makes sense. So if you don't know anything about IT, I would start here. This is not easy certification, by the way. If you're just starting out, this is not easy. This one breaks it into two parts, called A+ certification, and it's two parts. It's a hardware version and it's a software version, and you've got to know. they break down the individual components in hardware, and then they break down like parts of software, like what you need to know in software. So if you're new to IT, do this one first. Then go to this one, CompTIA Network Plus. This breaks down the basics you need to know about designing, configuring, and managing information technology on a network, on a LAN, on a wired network, on a wireless network. And then once you're done with those two, do CompTIA Security Plus. So if you're serious about this, about IT, beg, borrow, and steal. And I'm not messing with you. Beg, borrow, and steal to learn everything you can. Learn it like your life depends on it. That's what I did. I learned it like my life depended on it, because it did. Because it did. And I don't look back, man. Like, I don't regret it. Like, it was the greatest decision. One of the greatest decisions I've ever made in my life was doing IT. So yeah, Security Plus is what I would recommend. If you are already an IT person, Security Plus, do that one. Basically, what it does is it'll break down all of the common body of knowledge that you need to know. It'll teach. Let me see if they have a little bit more information, because this breaks down. The way that they break the information down is really, really nice, really cool. Let me see here. Yeah, it's certified, ISO 17024 certified. It's recognized by the Department of Defense, by states. It's recognized by the banking industry, by the healthcare industry. All industries know what Security Plus is. It's a very marketable certification. Everybody knows what it is. Here's what they teach: threats, attacks, and vulnerabilities. This is really good information right here, by the way. Really good. Talking about hacking, talking about how sites are infiltrated, how networks are infiltrated, what you do to protect it, where to find threats, how to defend against them. Basic at a high level, right? You're not actually hacking or doing anything. You're just learning the basics of each part of that. And then different tools you can use to install, configure, deploy networks, architecture and design, identification and access management, risk management, cryptography. They teach you like little parts of each thing. And so it's really good stuff, man. If you're getting into it, it's really really good. Like, it was my first security certification. And what I did was, when I was in the military, they had this program where they taught us, they gave us like, we did this boot camp. It was brutal. We did this boot camp where we did 4 or 5 certifications back to back. It was ridiculous. But since in the military they own you, they could just do whatever they want. But no, they was voluntary. Like, but I was like, yeah, I was so gung ho about it. So we did 1 certification in Microsoft. We did Network Plus. We did the A Plus certification back when it was just 1 certification. So that should tell you a lot about how old I am. And then we did. There was like one other one, I can't remember. It was Security Plus. It was like 4 certifications. I did all of them. I took all of them. I was like one of 2 people who studied my ass off and took every single cert back to back until I was done. And it's not because I have a photographic memory. My memory is terrible. You know, I can barely freaking read. But I know how to study. That's one thing. I work my ass off and I know how to study. I know how I process information, so I'm able to study in a way that I can retain the information. So that's all I did. I just studied my ass off. And so yeah, Security Plus, to answer your question, is a really good cybersecurity certification to start off with. And then from there, it depends on what you want to specialize in. So if it's networking, depends on the networking you want to get into. There's Cisco certifications, the Juniper. But Cisco's probably the top one in the U.S. And if you want to get into, cloud computing, we were just talking about that. AWS is probably the top one right now as far as marketability. But then there's IC Squared has one. Cream of the crop for cybersecurity is this. Let me see if I missed anything. Okay, Anavi says, I worked for Texas Instruments and Avaya, is that how you pronounce it? Back in the 90s in Dallas. Oh man, you must be about my age. What does Avaya do? It seems like it's telecommunications, or I have not used a lot of their stuff. It seems like it's like telecommunications or something like that. MD says, what are the opportunities in the U.S. to work part-time remote as a cybersecurity analyst for Canadian citizens staying in Canada? So MD, if I was in Canada, man, I would not be looking for jobs in the U.S. necessarily. I would be looking for jobs in Canada, because Canada, I'm sure you could find jobs in Canada. I would not, because and here's why I say that. Normally, when you work remotely here in the U.S., they expect you to be in the continental U.S. That meaning you have to be in one of the 50 states in the U.S. And sometimes it's like 50% of the time they even want you to be in the same state, but they allow you to work remotely. This is me having worked remotely like for 4 or 5 different companies. All right, so like one company, they had me traveling everywhere, so it really didn't matter where I lived. That was the one where I worked for the super genius one lady who had her own company. That one was amazing, working for her. But then there was one where I was working. oh man, I worked for a couple agencies that they do like aerospace, and so that one had to be in the same one. Had to be in the same state. The other one, I had to be in the United States. Then there was one where the one I'm working now, I have to be in the United States. So I'm just trying to give you an idea. Normally, like remote does still have some sort of restrictions, but there's been a couple where there weren't, but it's 50-50. So, but if I were you, I would look for a job in Canada, and here's how you could do it. Let me show you how. I would go to Google. This is just one trick you can use, by the way. If you want to know more, check out my course where I talk about how I've been able to find remote jobs back to back since 2014. Actually, 2011 is when I started, but I've had nothing but remote jobs since 2014. But before that, I did work some. Okay, anyway, go to google.com. Okay, you're in Canada, right? Check this out. If you haven't seen, you probably already know this. You probably already know what I'm about to do. Cybersecurity. Type in cybersecurity. Now, you ready for this? Ready? Jobs. Watch this. Watch what Google does. What? It didn't. What happened? Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go. So, this is a new feature in Google. This is one tool. It's not always super helpful. It's just one tool, but it works very well. Okay, so here, see how it says work from home? Boom, work from home. This is just looking for cybersecurity jobs that are work from home. Now, if I want to take a step further and I want one in the U.S., because it's still looking at where I live, and it's looking out from where I live. So hopefully this is going to look from where you live, right? So you're in Canada. So I would just put in Canada. You got Brampton, Ontario, Canada. You got Toronto, Canada. You've got Ubisoft in Montreal, Canada. These are all cybersecurity type jobs. Bell in Canada. This was 7 days ago. This one's 4 days ago. This one's 23 hours ago. This one's 19 hours. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to you don't have to work in the US. There's tons of jobs in Canada. Information security specialist, incident handling for a bank in Ontario, Canada. Cybersecurity analyst in Canada. A lot of these are remote. Actually, I'm not sure if they are remote. But what you could do is you go to location, and then you say work from home. Boom. And this narrows it down for Canadian jobs that are remote, or jobs where you can be a Canadian and work from anywhere, or you can be in the US and work from anywhere. You can be in Canada and it's maybe the job is actually in India, but you work remotely. So this just gives you all these options right here. So once again, network security framework, mainframe security and administrator. You just go through these and see what jobs there are here. There's a couple other things you can do. You can look at Indeed. You can look at Dice.com. And to be honest with you, Canada probably has its own job market search aggregators that are probably better than any of this stuff. So first thing I would do is go to Google and type in Canada, and then I type in top job search engines or something like that. And then that's gonna tell you, oh, it's Dice.com is the top one. It's LinkedIn, that's the top one. Go to those top 5 and just do exactly what I just did. And that should help you, I hope. All right, so let me see if there's another question here before I let you guys go. Navi says, I haven't dug into it yet, but I'm looking to transition my work in a couple of years. Gotta lock in retirement first. Thanks for the site info. Not a problem. MD says, what did you do before coming into IT? So what I did, man, I went into the military when I was 19 years old. And I was a security police officer. I was a weapons specialist, where they taught me like 5, 6 different kinds of weapons. I'm not making this shit up. This is real. And I was in the Air Force, and I was a weapons specialist, and I protected planes for the first 3 years. I did that. Then I got transitioned into law enforcement, where I was literally a cop. I was like doing, traffic citations and stuff like that. Learned criminal justice stuff, like things like that. So that's my background when I was 19 years old all the way until I was like 24 or something. Then I cross-trained. That's what they call in the military. I cross-trained into computers, and then I did that for like 3 years in the military. And then I got out of the military, and then I just been doing IT the whole time. So yeah, it's been a journey, man. Like, I've done nothing but security the whole time. Like, I've been doing security since 1996. It's all I've been doing, security stuff. Some of it's cool. I did not like being a cop. I gotta say, it was not an easy job. I really have a lot of respect for first responders. It's a very hard, thankless job. It's super hard. I never want to do that again. It was very stressful. It's the most stressful job I've ever done in my life. First responders, man, they really deserve a lot of our respect, because that is not an easy job. And I see why everybody's not made to be a cop, by the way. Not every human being should be a cop, because it takes a special, very strong mindset to be a cop. It takes an extremely good moral compass, because you have so much authority, and I think some people can't take the authority of being a cop. That's why there's so many, like, I think what happened with the shootings that you hear about here in the U.S. is that they hire people who should not be cops, and it's Chris Rock explained it. Chris Rock said, if you have a pilot can't have a bad day. You know what I mean? They have to be, because they always say, like, when a cop shoots a unarmed black dude in the back, right? And they're like, oh, it's just one of those bad apples, right? And Chris Rock was saying, no, you can't have no bad apples as a cop, and he's absolutely right. You can't have bad apples, because it's like a pilot. A pilot, you can't have bad apples. They crash a plane into a mountain, and people are like, do people say, oh, just one bad apple is one pilot's? No, you can't have bad apples as pilot. You can't have first responders that are bad apples. You can't have cops that are bad apples. So it just takes a certain mindset and a certain very good-hearted, decent person to be a cop, I think. Because I can see why they start hating people. Because you deal, like, as a cop, think about it. Every time you respond, you have to deal with sometimes the worst of the worst. You have to deal with people who are assholes, people who are crazy, people who are you're responding to people at their worst. You know what I mean? Like domestic violence. You're seeing people at their very worst in many instances. It's not always just routine traffic stops, or like, oh, we gotta stop this kid from loitering, or you're seeing bad things, horrible things, and then sometimes you're seeing bad things happen to people as a first responder. It's hard. It's a hard job, man. So yeah, that's the first job I did. When I was before that, I was like I was a newspaper boy. I did a lot of jobs before that. I've been working since I was like 8. Chantel says, I have expertise in information security coordinator, vulnerability management, PM analyst, and if anyone needs assistance or know of any remote jobs that's not mentioned. Oh yeah, Chantel, I hope you've been watching this, because I just dropped some crazy knowledge on how to find remote jobs. And that's one way to find remote jobs, by the way. You want to know all my secrets, go to ConvoCourses.com. Go find a course that I have called Remote Work. And since it's COVID-19, hit me up. I'll give you a code and give you a gigantic discount, since you happen to be here catching this live. But I only want people who are interested. Don't waste my time. Don't waste your time. I just want people who are serious. Chantel says, do you recommend taking them back to back? Are you talking about certifications? No, if you're talking Chantel, if you're talking about certifications, I do not recommend taking back-to-back certifications. I recommend focusing on like one thing at a time. Like just focus on one thing, go super deep, take about a year. You know, or it could be less. It depends on your learning style and how fast you learn and stuff like that. For me, I'm just going off of my own gauge, like a year of like one thing, going deep on one thing. For me, gets me there. I would recommend focus on one thing and then get really good at that, or get it to where you know it. Like you could walk in a company and then you like, you know, maybe not the top person there, but you know it to where you can go do basic things, and then move on to something else. Like if you're doing cloud, do cloud, you know, get hands-on experience, do the certification, go work at a job and do that for like a year, and then you want to do cybersecurity analyst work and you want to be an incident handler, do that. You know, go deep in that one thing. I don't recommend doing them because there's only so much a human being can learn. Yeah, honestly, when I was taking those certifications, man, it was just a cram session, you know. The other thing we took was a CCNA. That was brutal too. Okay, let me see. There's other questions here. Avaya spun off from Lucient and had a PBX and voice over IP business. Oh, okay. Avaya had a professional services until they had a professional service unit that would integrate the phone systems. Yeah, that's where I've seen Avaya, the little phone intercom system thing, to the information system for call centers. We're getting old. Yeah, no kidding, man. D Maloney, how you doing, man? He says, what is the difference between a security analyst skills and a security engineer? That is a good question. So it really depends on it's in the eye of the beholder. What I mean to say is okay, here, check this out. So I've been called a system security engineer where I was doing straight up documentation. I was doing writing security policies, writing system security plans. Then I've been a system security engineer where I was doing documentation, but I was also helping out hands-on, helping to implement security controls. I was actually an admin where I was putting the security controls into a system and then doing a quick assessment to make sure it didn't break anything. And then I've been a system security engineer. I've been called a system security engineer in the role where all I did was documentation and I never touched the system. All I did was I would talk on the phone to the administrator who had to implement the system. And then an analyst, for a security analyst, I've noticed that when they say security analyst, it's a dude staring at a screen who is looking at data coming in and out of a network. So the last job I did where I was called a cybersecurity analyst, that's exactly what I was doing. I was in I was like in a SOC. I was in a security operations center where we would look at all the logs coming in from the internal network, external network, and we'd have to determine, okay, is this traffic, is this a security incident? Is this somebody trying to do a denial of service attack on our system? Where is this data coming from? Oh, it's coming from this firewall. They're entering from this known location and they're sending traffic to this system, you know. So, but I've also been a security analyst where I was doing documentation. So it depends on it depends on how the organization defines the role. So I know that does not answer your question because it depends on who is how they define the role. So the only way to really know is to go and read the description of what. Then I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you go to Indeed.com, let's go to our go-to Indeed laboratory, and we could type in system. What did you say? System security engineer. System engineer. System security engineer. Is that what you said? Security analyst. So we're going to type in security analyst, and let's just read what the job description is. What are they saying here? These are in pencil. These are in PA. And see, it's telling us what the role is right here. You see this right here? Right above my head right here? The security analyst is responsible for monitoring, investigating. Yep, this is what I did. Response. I've noticed that normally when they say analyst, you're like in a security operations, incident handling kind of position. But I've heard it used in different ways. So, and then when they say engineer, watch this. When you say security engineer, they usually are talking about somebody who's like doing documentation. But watch this. Let me see. Cybersecurity engineer, to kind of be more precise. Cybersecurity. Here we go. Yeah, look at this. Cybersecurity engineer is looking for successful DoD risk management framework, certification and accreditation, response. So this is a person doing straight up documentation. That's what this is saying. All of these little acronyms, this is mostly documentation stuff. Nope, there's some firewall stuff in here too. Look at that. Cybersecurity workforce. Nope. That's not firewall stuff. Yeah, this is all risk management framework, certification and accreditation, EMAS, all documentation stuff. So in the federal government, I noticed that when they say analyst, security analyst, they mean security operations person who is analyzing data coming in and out of a network. When they say cybersecurity engineer, they're referring to somebody doing security compliance and writing documents, evaluating documents that are secure. They do have to know security stuff, but they're not typically hands-on type people. So, hope that answers your question. Let me see. D. Maloney says, I've been hearing a lot of people say it's programming skills. I guess I've never heard it used that way, personally, but it really depends on the organization, I would say. MD says, this is my last question. Thank you guys for watching, by the way. I really appreciate it. I always love learning new things. And thanks for that donation, Navi. Really appreciate that, man. And the questions and the great conversation. MD says, what would you say to a person... would you say a person should have good programming experience to be successful in their cybersecurity career? I would say it depends. So when you say cybersecurity, it's a really broad term. Cybersecurity can be, let me just explain. Like cybersecurity can be forensics, right? Forensics are guys who look at a hard disk and look at just the ones and zeros on a hard disk. They extract the data and they have to do scientific breakdown of the data there to find interesting information, to find crime, like on CSI, where they're looking at the hard drive to find hidden files or things like that. So those guys, sometimes they know networking stuff. Sometimes they're super strong on that. Sometimes they're usually very strong on cryptography. They may know some software engineering. The more you know, the better. I'll tell you that much. The more you know of programming, the better. But in my field, where I'm also under the umbrella of cybersecurity, right? I don't do forensics. I've done a little bit of it before, but it's not my field. I do risk management framework, right? So I'm working with like C-level execs. I'm working with in that field. I don't really know a lot of programming. I know how to handle I know that there's certain things you have to do. I know that there's a software development life cycle. I know that there's certain tasks that have to be done for programming. I know how to program. I've done it before. I'm not good at it. The more you know, the better is what I would say. And then uh, there's fields that you don't know a lot of programming. Like there's networking guys who I know who are brilliant, but they don't know how to program. But they're super good at voice over IP. They're super good at firewalls, but they don't know how to program. They might know a little scripting, but they're not good at programming, you know. So, or they don't know any programming in some cases. And then I know some. This is what blew my mind. I worked at a company where I was working with all programmers, right? All these guys were programmers, and they're very smart. Very, very smart. Really good at math. Very good logical thinking. Just really smart guys. But they didn't know nothing about like basic security stuff. So basic security stuff. So, and then I've worked with scientists. Same thing. Some brilliant, brilliant people. Super smart. Very deep in like one or two areas, but did not know anything about cybersecurity. Nothing. Nada. And it surprised me because it's to me it's so simple and so basic, but they didn't know that stuff. So, all right, guys, that's it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate everybody's questions. We'll do another one next week, and I hope you guys have learned as much as I've learned and have enjoyed this as much as I've enjoyed it. I'll see you guys on the next one. And remember, if you are interested in getting into computers, if you're interested in getting into IT security specifically, I've got a code below. This is a one-time thing. This is not something I'm going to do all the time, but in light of what's going on, I really want to help people who want to get out of real retail or out of whatever industry that's hurting them. IT is the way to go. It's really been very beneficial to me and my family, so I want to help you guys out with it as well. So if you're interested in that, my contact information is right here. If I could put it up real quick. There it is right there. Contact me here. There's my email and all that kind of stuff. And I have a code below that gives you a huge discount on getting into a walkthrough of how to get into cybersecurity. And with that, we are out of here.